What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
It's from Free Love, man.
What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to Saw Sports. I'm your host, Ed Honcho. Today we're going to talk about a couple of Texans trade opportunities, names that some of you guys out there have been throwing out, possibilities that moves that the Texans could make. I'm going to speak on a couple of names, why I think they should or should not go in that direction. But if you're not familiar with Saw Sports, first, make sure you follow Saw Sports on all the proper social medias listed below. But Saw Sports is a Houston Texans homer network, meaning we're talking all sports, but only Houston. This is primarily the Texans channel. If you want the rest of the sports conversation in Houston, make sure you go to Saw Sports TV, sawsports.tv. Links in the description below. Let's get into it. Couple of names I want to throw out there as far as trades, pickups, things that the Texans can do to make this team better. I want to start off with Antonio Brown. Let's just get this out the way. No, anybody who's telling you the Texans need to go get Antonio Brown, it's foolishness. The dude is a problem. The dude has too much baggage, too many issues. And again, is not going to want to come to the Texans, a team that is lacking a real identity still, in my opinion, at this point as to who they are, how they want to be, and the characteristic makeup of this team. A guy with that type of mentality can easily come in and just ruin shit. And I'm not saying that, you can pull a page of Kemah before we can get him up out of here. But I don't think you even want to waste the time entertaining something like that, especially when you have a talented wide receiver core across the board. Now, I don't see where he fits in. So speaking of the wide receivers, a situation that I've been hearing a lot of people talk about recently is trading ckin because the emergence of Kenny Stills has almost relegated him to the back burner. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you got to keep as much wide receiver depth on this team as you possibly can. As the year goes on, knock on wood, you have to deal with injuries. Guys may be out a game or two, whatever it may be. Knowing Will Fuller and his history, and again, not to wish anything negative on Will Fuller, but we've yet to see him have a full season. And so if a situation occurs where Fuller is unable to go, you put Stills in that spot, and now you have a little bit more use out of ckin. And I know people say, well, you got Carter and, all this. Yeah, that's fine, but Kiki is a little bit better than Carter, in my opinion. I'm not saying that DeAndre Carter is not as bad, but I like what Kiki brings to the table a little bit more. So you need to keep that. We saw in the playoffs last year what happened with a lack of wide receiver depth and how that became an issue, especially trying to move the ball, get in the end zone, things like that. So I think that you keep ckin and you kind of stick with this wide receiver core. I'm sure he's probably not happy with the limited number of snaps that he's getting, but it kind of is what it is. But again, you save him just in case of emergency, and he's going to see the field. He's going to get an opportunity to make plays, but I don't think you just run off a trade. I think that's a stupid idea because, again, we've seen this year in and year out. Hop has been your most reliable guy. Fuller goes down, then who do you rely on? With Vincent Smith, or we saw even when they went and got Demaryius Thomas, and Demaryius Thomas goes down. You need as much wide receiver talent on this team as you can because, again, year in and year out, that has ended up becoming a problem. So trading ckin is a stupid idea, in my opinion. You keep what you got. Now, a lot of people have complained about Jonathan Joseph and what he's been bringing to the table. I think you got a tale of two players, in a sense. When Jonathan Joseph is playing off 10 yards, giving up automatic first downs, again, you can put that on rack. And then you saw later in the game against the Chargers when he was actually pressing, and he looked like Jonathan Joseph of old. And so I'm wondering if the Texans, get away from this nonsense of this giving this big cushion, hoping that these guys don't get beat over the top, and allow Jonathan Joseph to play the way he should, and not giving up the easy yardage. I think the defense becomes better as a whole when you do that. And you're making it a little bit more difficult for the quarterback to get the ball off. That allows the line to allow them to put more pressure on. I think that works better in your favor. So again, it has kind of a domino effect, if you will. So depending on what Jonathan Joseph you get, because again, when you're playing off, Jonathan Joseph looks old. He looks like he's toast. He looks like he's getting burnt. He looks bad. And again, I think you put that on Cornell and his scheme and whatever he's trying to do out there. But then, like I say, you saw another Joseph when he played press. But if you were to go out and seek another corner, there's two names that I've heard thrown out there that I want to address. And I'm sure there's some other names out there, but these are names that you guys have presented. And so I kind of want to speak on these specifically. One of those is Josh Norman. Now, Norman is interesting. I don't know if he's the same Josh Norman that you get from the Panthers. He's a little bit older. I would like to see this secondary get younger, moving in that direction. Josh Norman's about 30, 31, something like that. Making about 10 this year. I think he makes 12 or so next year. So you'd have him for maybe the rest of the year and the year after. But the reason why I don't think Josh Norman is going to be available, you heard Booger McFarland on Monday Night Football saying Jay Gruden's job is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so I think when a coach is in a situation where he's basically playing week to week to keep his employment, that I don't see him going out and getting rid of what you would consider key pieces of his team, because he's going to need every bit of talent that he can to try to retain his job. Now, if something happens and you maybe bring in an interim guy, maybe there's a possibility to work something out. But right now, I don't see it happening. I don't see Josh Norman being a guy that's made available. Like I said, this is a guy like a lot of people have referenced. So even though I do find it interesting, I think the odds of that happening are slim to none, or at this time right now, when we're talking about this. Now, the other piece that everybody's been ranting and raving about, and I said I wasn't going to say some certain things, but I have to make this point, and that is Jalen Ramsey. And in South Sports, we've been telling y'all for at least the last 2 years, we've been watching, been peeping, been arguing with Jags fans, and then you can go ask Jags fans. You can, we all know Clarence. We said this before, that and Jalen loves the Texans. He's been hanging out with Hop ever since Deshaun's got here. Ever since that first game, you talk about how good Deshaun Watson was. He has been on all of their posts. You know, the Russell Westbrook. This is stuff we've been saying for months. And it's funny how everybody's picking it up now, but maybe not months. We've been saying for years. And it's funny how everybody's picking it up now once he requested a trade. Or could he be? We've been telling y'all he wants to be a Texan. He would love to be a Texan. But the reason why that's not going to happen right now is because the Jags are not going to trade him within the division, one. Number two, the Texans don't have the assets. The Jags are asking for 2 first-rounders at least. Then you see Khan is saying, well, I want to pay him. I want to keep him here. I'm willing to not necessarily break the bank to keep him. So, again, there's mixed signals coming out of Jacksonville. Maybe they're not getting the offers they want, but I think that if the right offer was made, that they would get it. And we don't have, like I said, we don't have the assets. And people say, well, we'll put QT in a second and a third. That's not valid. You got to look at, as a Texans fan, you're going to overvalue your players as to the perspective of the rest of the league and how they're looking at it. Kiki is not bringing that level of value. Again, if you got a veteran like Demarius last year for a 4th, you've seen some other big names go for 3rds and 4ths, over the last few years. Kiki hasn't really made a name for himself in the league. He's had a couple of good games, was out a lot last year, started off the year out. And so to other teams, it's like he doesn't have that value. He's not going to be worth a 1st, especially when you got him for a 4th, if I'm not mistaken. He's not. He didn't automatically jump up in value. So to think that you could offer Kiki in a 2nd and a 3rd, that's not the same value. It's not even remotely close to the same value as 2 number 1s. And we already know what happened with the Texans and those number 1 picks. They don't have the assets to make an offer like that. And now something could happen where if Ramsey does end up getting traded, going elsewhere, we can talk about pulling an AB or something like that. All in all, you still might not want to count on that, because he pulled up in a Brinks truck this year, meaning that you're going to have to break bread. You're going to have to really pay some money. The Texans got a lot of guys they have to pay coming up very soon. But this is what I'm saying, that had this GM / offensive coordinator / coach / probably part owner at this point, who knows, been so hasty to get rid of a key talent, maybe that would have been better leverage somehow, even though Jacksonville's loaded on defense, but that might have been better leverage to add or find a way to finesse. Again, because like I said, that move was made at the worst possible time. You got the least possible value for him. Had he waited a couple of games of the season, I think the Texans would have more assets, especially allowing himself to prove himself. But again, it is what it is. So I just wanted to touch on those things real quick, because a lot of people have been asking about trades, about acquiring more assets, about acquiring better secondary help. I just think the Texans are in a position where they kind of bet the farm early on with the Tunsil and Stills acquisition, and I don't see them really having too much. I don't see Bill O'Brien being crafty enough to finesse a team out of a high-value talent for a mid to late round pick. Like I say, because even with the Duke situation, Duke was proposed by most in the league as a 5th round, that you would probably be able to get it for a 5th round pick. He's ended up on the verge of possibly paying a 3rd for him if he plays 10 games, which is likely. But we saw them bring in C.J. Anderson, so who knows what the mentality is there. But that's just my take on that. Now, like I said, I'm totally going to start doing in these videos. I'm going to start taking a comment out of the comment section and addressing it you know, like I say, directly, because again, you guys are the fresh ingredients. You guys are what make the sauce, and so I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Again, make sure you follow Sauce Sports on all the proper social medias below. Make sure you hit the links in the description. Make sure you sub if you're new to this. Hit that like button if you're true to this. And again, like I said, the lives will be coming back regularly every evening at 7, so make sure you're a part of that. You can call in live. You can call the Sauce line, express your thoughts. But like I said, with that being said, it's your boy Ed Honcho. I'm Chuck Up the Deuce. Y'all stay tuned for the comment of the day, or somebody said we say the sauce pot, so we're gonna pull a comment out of the sauce pot right after this. I appreciate you watching. Y'all be cool, but most of all, y'all stay saucy, and stay tuned. I'm out. So to get today's comment of the day, or whatever the hell we're gonna call this segment, and I guess it'd be if I turn my phone off, maybe something out the saucepan, I don't know, whatever we're gonna call this segment. Anyway, today's comment comes from Antulio Abrego, and he says that now that the Texans have started to build an identity and seem to have gotten the O-line, with the exception of center, fixed as best they can, will y'all be doing an in-season prediction do-over? Team looks totally different from the shit show we all saw hit the field in preseason. There's a long answer and a short answer to that, Antulio. Shout out to Antulio. Antulio's been holding down the sauce for quite some time. It's always good to hear from you, man. I hope all is going well. The short answer is no. Well, me personally, no. And the reason why I say that is I'm going to stick to what my preseason prediction was for the most part. Now, there have been changes. Of course, nobody predicted Foles going out. I think when we made those predictions, I do believe we made those predictions after Luck had left. And again, like I say, the injuries to the teams that we're facing, the things that are going on, none of that stuff is that's why it's a prediction. And like I said, y'all can hold on to that as much as you want to. It can be whatever you want to be. Again, like I said, I think that was also made before the Tunsil and Steels was acquired. So a lot changed after that. And so those are things that nobody can really dictate. But that is why every pregame show still do a prediction. And sometimes it may be in accordance with what the initial prediction was. It may be different depending on the circumstances, and that have changed. And so I will be keeping record of the different predictions that I had during the season, you know, on the pregame shows as compared to the original prediction. Let's see what was right and what was wrong. So I don't think that we'll be redoing it. Again, if the other rest of the roundtable may want to, then, you know, that's kind of on them. But me personally, I have no plans on it. But hey, if they get better, I'll say it 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it, and this is what people don't get. I hope that I'm wrong. Majority on the negative stuff. I hope that I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, I win. Because that means the team is winning. And if I'm right, well, I'm right. So I still win. So it's a win-win situation for me. So all the people out there talking about, oh, you guys are negative or whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a shit at all. And I'm not saying you actually. It was just some other people out there. Some of them who have no input. Some of them are just, you know, generally Texas fans, and they felt like we were better. So some people have good intentions. Some people are just trolls. It is what it is. But I want to say shout out to Antulio for the comment of the day. That's a reply to that. Again, if you want to be a participant in the comment of the day, or fresh out the saucepan, or I don't know what we're gonna call it. First, you know, nominate an idea for this. You know, I need a nifty name for this. So I'm thinking fresh out the saucepan might be what we call it. But if you want to be a part of this, make sure you leave a comment under this video. And like I said, we'll be just picking random comments and, you know, answering them at the end of, you know, every video that we drop. So again, Sauce Nation, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. It's your boy Ed Honcho, and I appreciate you for watching. With that being said, y'all stay saucy, and I'm out.
Perfect.